I guess they did some polling. Was it really worth $18 million? You'll never find out. How much of it was margin? You'll never find out.
It wasn't worth the paper it was printed on, Cenk. Okay, like she performed far worse than the polling indicated. Far worse. Come on.
Ana Kasparian is absolutely finished with the Young Turks and finished with Cenk Uygur, and you can see that very blatantly in this clip here where Ana Kasparian shuts down Cenk Uygur after she just snaps and she's tired of all the ridiculous talking points coming out of Cenk's mouth. Now, Cenk has been, I think, faking a turn more towards the right wing ever since Donald Trump won the election. Ana Kasparian's not faking it, though. And this kind of proves it right here in this clip that Cenk Uygur is faking it and that Ana Kasparian is being 100% serious. Let's get into this clip here where Ana Kasparian snaps live on the Young Turks and goes off on Cenk Uygur.
Stand right there. That is not your nature to just stand where you're told to stand. Give it a try.
That was a strange reaction to Senator Bernie Sanders during the official Senate swearing in, where Kamala Harris told him to stand in a specific place and tell him, I know it's not in your nature to stand where you're told to stand. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it, Cenk, but it seemed a little like she was trying to say something. You get what I'm saying? Like there was more to it than telling him to do something.
Like that old TYT clip. It was a little aggressive. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, look, it's a joke. And it's true, Bernie is not good at doing what he's told to do. Except he did under Biden. And I thought that was the problem, not the solution. But anyways, overall, not a big deal. They joked around, God bless. And I mean, if she's got a little passive aggressive in her after losing an election, I'm gonna let it slide.
Okay, all right. Are you not merciful? Now, if she was intending to be passive aggressive, what could be behind it? Well, I'm going to go ahead and speculate that it could be the fact that Senator Bernie Sanders, especially after the election, has been calling out the corporate corruption of the Democratic Party.
Of course, that's what it is. That's who Kamala Harris is. She is a very, she is that type of person, a very petty person. You could tell that was not just a joke. If they had that kind of relationship, I think Bernie would have reacted a bit differently there. I don't think that would have been the reaction. It wasn't like it was a warm welcome from both sides and it was Kamala Harris throwing a jab at an old friend. That was not the vibe whatsoever. It was very much like, hey, Bernie, I'm supposed to act like I like you, but I actually hate you. And here's me letting you know that I actually do hate you. That's what the vibe was there. I mean, on the comments, what you guys think it was, but I think me and Anna are on the same page here.
And when it comes to corporate corruption, well, let's just say the Harris campaign didn't raise billions of dollars out of thin air. And so just before the election, Senator Sanders made these comments while on CNN.
This should not be a close election. And I think the Democrats, win or lose, have got to take a very hard look at themselves and ask how it could be that a significant majority of working class people in this country are prepared to vote for Donald Trump. And the truth is, what has got to happen is the Democrats have got to wake up and say, you know what? Instead of worrying about big money interests and campaign contributions from billionaires, we got to stand with the working class of this country. And we need an agenda that is a popular agenda that speaks to Democrats and Republicans.
Senator Sanders says Democrats need a popular agenda. Stop listening to your corporate donors. The corporate capture of the Democratic Party is a liability. And to be sure, following that interview, the Democrats went on to lose the presidential race. They lost control of the Senate. And Donald Trump won the popular vote. Now, immediately after the election, Senator Sanders also released a fiery takedown of the Democratic Party, something that we covered extensively here at TYT. But in case you missed it, he said it should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party, which has abandoned working class people, would find that the working class has abandoned them. While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. Will the big money interests and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain and political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has had so much economic and political power? And he comes to the conclusion that Probably not. So, again, it's my speculation that if Kamala Harris was intending to be salty during that interaction, this could have something to do with it. But I have
Of course that's what, I mean, let me know in the comments, but it seems pretty obvious to me. Bernie Sanders has been calling out people like Kamala Harris the last couple months. Ever since the Democrats lost the election to Donald Trump, he's been calling out the messaging of the Democrats, and she was the head of it. She was the candidate. It was her messaging, you know? So, of course, that's what it is. She's pissed off at him because he's calling out the truth. He's calling out the real reason why the Democrats lost. He's saying the same things that Ana Kasparian has been saying. He's saying the same things that Cenk Uygur has also been saying. But I think Cenk is, like I said, I don't think he's being genuine with it. I'm curious to see what you guys think. But he's saying the same stuff. And of course, Kamala Harris doesn't like it. She's that type of person. Like I said, she's a petty person. She's the reason why the Democrats lost. And, you know, the people who nominated her, or I don't even know what you would call it. They basically just decided that it was her race. You know, she was the candidate. There was no nomination. There was no vote. So I don't know even what to call it. But it's their fault and it's her fault. And she doesn't want to accept that. She doesn't like that. Let's see. This is the point right here, though, where things take a turn and Ana Kasparian really loses it on Cenk. Let's check this part out.
money on behalf of Kamala Harris's campaign and then spent $18 million on other like election related companies that were like that these individuals were part of. Okay, so let me give you some specific examples. One of the things that the firm did during the election was create online and text message surveys. GCJ Research was Future Forward's second highest paid vendor as of October 16th, according to the FEC. So the folks at Future Forward raise money for the campaign and then funnel that money to other organizations that the same people who founded Future Forward are employed by. How is that not self-dealing? Okay, and the connections don't end there. So McLean's company, PFB Media, was also paid by
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Future Forward PAC. The company was paid more than $1.2 million by the PAC for ad production, according to FEC records. How is this legal? In November of last year, Li Fang also reported that another research firm, Open Labs, which also does business under Blue Rose Research, received another $759,707 from Future Forward. The founders of the Super PAC also work at Open Labs. Guys, how is this okay? It's like they raised money not to help Kamala Harris win. They raised money to pay themselves. This is crazy. This is insane.
Yeah. So look, we don't know if they spend that money more efficiently than a different polling company would have spent it, but we do know that they gave your money to themselves. We do know that, okay? And remember, a lot of the consultants, especially if they're working on the part where they collect the money and then spend it on ads, get 15%. So the more money that they raise, even if it's counterproductive, even if you're kissing donor ass and costing yourself tons of voters, they have a financial incentive to keep doing that, even if it costs them an election, because they're going to raise more money from those same donors. So they've got already one terrible incentive in that 15% that they get. That's usually how it works. And then they have now a second terrible incentive, which is take all your money and funnel it to their own companies. I mean, if this company was a really respected polling organization that didn't employ the top 3 people in the Kamala Harris campaign, then I'd say, well, I mean, you got to do polling, and apparently they spent it in that direction, okay? But it does employ the top 3 people. In fact, it's named after the top 3 people in the Kamala campaign. And on top of that, they had almost no contracts before the Kamala campaign. They had one $7,000 contract in the last cycle. That's it. So this thing has no experience, no nothing. And all of a sudden, the people that handle the money of the Kamala campaign, they just decided that they should get $18 million of it. And I guess they did some polling. Was it really worth $18 million? You'll never find out. How much of it was margin? You'll never find out.
It wasn't worth the paper it was printed on, Cenk. Okay, like she performed far worse than the polling indicated. Far worse. Come on.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I'm just telling you, like, we're being fair. We the content of it. If they would like to come out and say, "Oh no, look, here's how much we spent. Here's how little margin we made, and here's how it compares to the other vendors," I'd be thrilled to get it. But they'll do no such thing. This is the last time you'll ever hear about it, because mainstream media doesn't care about corruption like this. They love corruption like this, so they're not even going to talk about it. And they love Kamala Harris. They love Joe Biden. They love all corrupt politicians, and so all these stories never ever get covered. And then, but they're so proud that they raised billions. You didn't win the election. You have nothing to be proud of. Nothing. If you ran the Kamala Harris campaign, you're an utter failure. Yeah, maybe you're gonna have a nice new mansion wherever you live, based on good, hardworking Americans who believed in you and donated to you, let alone the giant corporations. But you didn't accomplish a damn thing. You ran a terrible campaign and you lost to Donald Trump, who you said was an idiot and a monster. So what does that make you?
I mean, really, it's so true. It's remarkable how little these people actually care about the future of the country and how they see a presidential election as an opportunity to make some money. I mean, to the detriment of the American people. It's amazing.
You know what the crazier part is that these same people who Ana Kasparian's calling out right here, and Cenk Uygur is kind of calling out a little bit. I don't know. You can tell Ana Kasparian's just fed up with the guy at this point. But the people that these people call out for taking money and using the presidential election as an opportunity to make money, they're calling out Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy for being businessmen and for not paying as much taxes as humanly possible, like for using the legal tax code to their advantage, to using real estate properties to their advantage. They're calling out those people for being evil because they're businessmen. And yet the Democrats who are calling those people out are literally doing the things that they're accusing Trump of, that they're accusing Elon Musk of and Vivek Ramaswamy of, who aren't actually doing those things. The Democrats are actually doing it. That's the crazier part, in my opinion. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about Ana Kasparian getting all snarky with Cenk Uygur and really, you could tell she was rolling her eyes at him. You could tell she's just finished with this thing. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Ana Kasparian versus Cenk Uygur situation.